Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I believe we're going to be having Bobby join us. I'm not sure. He did mention that he might have to be out, but we're going to just get started. Uh, Now, as I mentioned before, I like to go through the non-NBA sports first to give NBA injury news a chance to kind of catch up. And, like, for example, um, Bobby will be right here. For example, what we just got was that, well, two bits of really big news. One was that CJ McCollum is going to be out, and the other that Miles Turner is going to be out. The CJ McCollum injury only impacts the FanDuel slate, or, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, if you play the DraftKings late slate, it affects that as well. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll play the late slate tonight. I'm not sure. And then FanDuel, but it does impact the FanDuel slate for McCollum being out. In addition, we just got DeAndre Hunter being out for Atlanta. I sort of suspected that, but I'm not sure if projections had caught up with that. So these are early games, the Atlanta game as well as the Indiana game. So we are going to have to deal with that forthwith, and we will deal with that. But we're going to do lineup builds for MLB and NHL and then NBA. And again, I really think I've got a handle on content. Well, not really, but I'm working on it still. But I have a little bit of a revelation. I do like the idea of doing lineup builds. It's a good combination of talking about sort of who we like and then figuring out exactly how to implement that. And you get to watch someone who claims to know what they're doing actually implement that live. So as Bobby comes, I'll just kind of repeat what I just said. So Bobby, the first thing I was mentioning is I'm kind of into this style of the live before lock thing, at least for me.
Yeah.
Just actually going through builds and going through I think it's a decent combination of what I want to do and what people are used to.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works. The other thing I mentioned I mentioned that we'd like to do NBA last to let injury news catch up, which it's already, that decision is already drawing some benefits because we just got, I don't know if you got anything else, but we got McCollum out, which impacts the FanDuel slate. We got Turner out, which impacts the DraftKings slate, and we also got DeAndre Hunter out, which we sort of thought, but not. I don't think was projected in as him being out. Is there any other? And so I'm going to have to, we're gonna update projections probably after we're done with this, but we can go through just at least those particular teams as Sabersim updates those as at least. Anything else news wise that I missed? Anything we're waiting on aside from the stuff that we don't know that we're waiting on, as you like to say?
Yeah, I don't really know that I guess Josh Hart is technically questionable. I guess there's that one, and there's a few other Q tags, but most of them I expect to play. I don't really have anybody else that I could think of that I wasn't thinking they were going to play today. I'm just going through. Ja Morant, I guess that's a big one.
Is he legitimately questionable?
I think so, but based on his projection, yes. It looks like they're half projecting him.
Oh, are they doing that? Are they like middling his projection or something?
At 37. I've never seen it that low for him.
I don't think he's ever scored 37 fantasy points.
No, it's either 25 or 75.
Either he's out or he has, I think 60 or something.
Never really 25, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a real number.
No, I agree with that. So I guess we could. So let's start. I guess. Well, let's do the lucky order. We'll do what we did yesterday. Actually, what we did yesterday first. We did hockey first. So
hockey, yeah.
So let's just do this again. I updated the hockey projections, and I already ran my stuff, but I'm just going to literally do it again. All right. So again, we start with here, and the first thing that we do is we upload our contest file to here. And even though I've done it before, it's so easy. I'll just show you how we could do it again. Hold on a minute. Actually, let's start here. So contest here, upload files. And the reason why we do this, everybody, is this. And the reason why we do this is it allows us to run our sims a lot easier. And it automatically does this for you. It downloads this to your computer, and then we put these in here. And just to kind of show you what this accomplishes, and this is for all sports. Okay, you see the contest file. It already put the stuff that I'm in, and also our lineups over here if we felt like looking at them. All right, but most important, it puts all this sim data in, so you could just run this stuff like really easily. So now we go into, we're going to do another build. Just again, I'm pretty much good anyway, but we could just do it again. We're gonna first pick on which projections we could use. We could use Saber Sims. We could use Goldies. We could use a combination of them. But it's which projections you use is not as important with how you use them. So let's. This is my version, so I'm just going to put this in here. But whatever you want to put in here, or just use Saber Sim. Now, remember, if you're going to use DraftKings, you have to like change everything by like a point. You know what's really interesting that I noticed, Bobby, is that if you use TrueDFS Saber Sim right on there, even if you use like the Sheets projections, you still have to make changes. Did you know that?
Yeah, I noticed it. Yeah,
I never knew that until I
on DraftKings. Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. So we put everything in here, and then again, just blast. So we're building again 5,000 lineups. It's a 6-game slate. I like to kind of look at it to see where it breaks down. So you have a 7 to 7:30, a 9 to 9:30, then a 10, and then the late night hammer, the 10:30s. And it's funny. It reminds me of the way the NBA used to be. NBA back in the 80s, like all the scoring came from the Western Conference games, between the Nuggets and the Suns and like all of that. And it sort of feels that way in hockey, by the way, that the slate is never over until Edmonton plays or whoever is out west. Okay, so we built everything like this, and the first thing I like to do is look and see who we would get without doing anything, and that would be like all of the Winnipeg. All right, so Winnipeg, and I wonder what percent we would get if I made no changes or didn't sim it at all. Like 80%, 70%, whatever it is. But you'll see the magic that the Sims perform on hockey lineups. It's quite amazing, actually. It's just like baseball. Like just when you think you know who you're going to play, then you get like 40% of like the lowest total team. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the way it goes. But the first thing I want to do again is do this min uniques thing. But I don't have to do it now. You can wait until you're ready to go. Like after you run your Sims, you could do that. Or if you weren't going to run your Sims, you could do it here. But let's skip that and let's run our Sims, and then we will do the min unique stuff. I'll pull the chat up here. Oh, and by the way, somebody here yesterday, a couple of people yesterday made some hockey money.
Nice.
Actually, I think our man K9 hit a single entry for like a few $100s or whatever it is. Carmen, let's go, making some hockey money. That makes me feel really good, actually. Okay, so before we do anything, I like to go to stack exposure, and already there's like all kinds of crap that I don't want to play. Like I don't play 4-2s, 4-2-2s. Again, I feel if you did that, you really have to know ball to like pick the right ones, and I don't, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to play the 4-3s, the 5-2s, or the onslaughts, which are the 6s. So we'll just X all these out. And now we're almost ready to put our lineups in. Like you could just kind of go with this and do whatever. But it's a good idea to use this min uniques thing to get, get some diversification. And you got to go min uniques as many as you can until, these numbers, like the min destination ROI or the max destination ROI, till that crashes. So you get a min uniques 2. We're going to look at this one on the right. This goes just to 40%, no big deal. And then here, 30. So nothing. Wow, this is pretty cool. You get to be, it's always good when you could use diversification. Oh, it dropped 8 points there. We'll give it one more. And then, that's a little bit too much. So we can go to min uniques 4, and then we have to go back to this stack thing and XXX. Boom. And then what you do is you go into autofill from direct fill, and then you want to put at the top of this list the tournament that you care the most about. Getting that one lineup right. So that's the 333. and then I'll put the single entry and the glove save. It's still going to sim to the right tournaments, but we're talking about like if there was a lineup that fit all of them, like where to prioritize it. And this is the way I like feel like playing. And then we'll just save it to the contest, and then we're going to be off and running. Now, do I want to see who I have? Probably not. So let's just go ahead, save to contests. And in a weird way, so what was I asked rhetorically, but I also ask actually, like, how long did that take? And I'm not saying that to, like, show off how quickly you could do it. It's important to know how long it takes for you to do something like that, because especially when you get into like NBA or whatever, and you have to blast stuff just when lineup news comes out, like, you have to know like how much time you really have to do what you need to do. Okay. Otherwise, like if you don't have time to do like all of that, then to cut some corners or whatever it is. Okay, so that was hockey. Let's talk about baseball. So you couldn't talk hockey. What?
Go ahead. Do you want to share a screen doing it, or do you want to just go through it? We're happy to just talk through it if you want to. It's up to you. But I'm happy to share too. Baseball, I haven't done my build yet, but I have some takes.
Well, what's interesting is that I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time. So
that's what I sort of thought, but I didn't want to like say, "Hey, you're not sharing your screen," because I didn't want to like,
Yeah. But, well, that was really atrocious then. Well, I'm not doing it all over again. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You explained it anyway. Like I think you still got enough of it. Yeah.
Well, the good news is I actually don't know who I have. So the fact that I didn't show anybody, I don't know either. So we're all good. All right. So now baseball we'll do. How about that?
Okay.
So baseball, we'll just use why don't you use the SaberSim projections? Let's just use the SaberSim projections for baseball. So we'll change a couple lineups, and then we will just build. Now, I would say 2,000 lineups is plenty. And one thing, again, what I don't do in Showdown at all is I don't leave money on the table on purpose in baseball Showdown. I just always feel as though I can get unique lineups anyway.
Especially if you're using the relievers, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, and even so, I mean, there's a lot of combination. You got 9 freaking batters. That's
on each side, and you don't have these tournaments don't have 150,000 people like the football ones do.
Right, that's true too.
You don't need
but in football, like for example, like there are really only 6 guys that could really be the highest scorer. I mean, really. I mean, maybe like whatever, but baseball, it literally could be like 14 guys, whatever. All right. So let's see what SaberSim would get us. Like, what does SaberSim think's going to happen? Well, looks as though a little bit of everything, like some with the Yankees, some with the Dodgers. Because it's funny, when I actually did my builds, which I'm going to go with probably, I was getting sort of the opposite. I was getting all kinds of like 5-1 Dodgers, and 5-1 Dodgers with kind of like an insulting 5-1. It was like 5 Dodgers with like Canale from the Yankees. Right. like they don't even want the Yankees to score or freaking get a hit. And that's a lot to ask from Flaherty and the Dodger bullpen. That's a tough build. But one thing I do notice right away. Check this out: 46,200. In salary, and I did nothing.
Yeah, that's fine. It's baseball.
It is fine, and I like it. You know what I mean? I like that you get to it organically. You don't force it, and you get to it organically. So then again, same thing. We're just going to run the Sims.
MLB.
Who do you like in the game? I mean, what do you think? What do you like?
It's so hard when you're so emotionally invested in it.
You're always like that with the Dodgers. Who cares? I mean,
but no, not always in the World Series against the Yankees, bro.
no, I know, but I mean, you tend to play the Dodgers more than most people.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, there's a pretty good reason for it, I think.
It's a good reason for it tonight too. I mean,
Yeah. If it was like, I understand the Dodgers are the way to get more different because people are going to play Yankees hitters a lot more than they're going to play Dodgers hitters. So I think that's why you're going to end up getting more Dodgers from SaberSim. That's more of a contrarian thing. In my opinion, I actually do feel a little worried about the Dodgers tonight. It's not that I'm afraid they can't get to Cole. I think it could be another. I thought last night was going to turn into the 13-11, 11-9 type of game. I thought it was really going to be a shootout. Really, it was only the Yankees who shot out. But I sort of have a little bit of that feeling. I'm a little worried about Flaherty being seen the second time through this lineup. And if it was just a regular baseball slate, I think I actually would consider stacking the Yankees against Flaherty, to be honest with you. He's also much better at home. And I also think he struggles. He only pitched great against the Yankees last time, but he often does struggle against good teams. But it's the last time they'll use him in the series. He'll have all the leash in the world. And I just don't want to get in the business of captaining too many of the Cole Flaherty. I think that ownership is going to take me away from it. I also think the recency thing about like sort of, Judge, because he gets a hit in the ninth inning when they're up by 6. Now all of a sudden Aaron Judge is projected to be the highest owned hitter. That's weird. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather play Soto. I'd rather play Ohtani. I'd rather play Mookie if I was to be honest. I'd rather play Jazz. You're getting like so much lower ownership on all those guys. So that would be my take, is to not play much of Judge or Cole or Flaherty as captain. That would be my main thing. I just think it's too common to build. And if you're going to do that, then I would like, look, you don't have to force to leave money on the table. It'll probably do that for you. If you end up with them as captains. But I think there's going to be some home runs to hit tonight. There's been home runs hit every night. And I don't see why. I don't think we've had a pitcher be the highest scoring player in this series, except for maybe Yamamoto might have been the only time that happened in the series. So,
and even he was struggling the first couple innings.
Yeah. Another Lathan got fourth in a hockey tournament last night. Everybody's rolling into hockey though. I think I got to play some hockey.
It's definitely a fun sweat too. The PMRs are like amazing. Like you have like 387 minutes left compared to like someone's like 60 sometimes. It's because remember each player is worth 60 minutes but it's sort of like the NBA. Like it looks like more than it is because the most like a hockey player will play is like 20 minutes.
Right.
So, but you see that 60 up there, you're like, woo, let's go.
Yeah.
But what's also cool about hockey, if I give anybody some advice on hockey, like all else being equal, whatever, is don't play like the expensive goaltenders on like teams that are like supposed to win. You know what I mean? Like goaltenders like need, if they really want to make a ceiling and win GPPs, you want to play goalies that are sort of cheap, but also like against the good teams, right. Against the teams that rate to shoot like a bunch, because that's the way you get ceiling, is to just rack up a ton of saves, and God forbid you win also. I mean, those guys can get like 30 or 35. Like you get these like really big favored goalies in where they're like minus 500 or minus 300 against a bad team. What happens is your team controls the puck like the whole game, mm-hmm. and you face like no action, Right. So it's like I don't know, it's like playing like a defense in football where it's going to be like 17-3. Okay, great, but the other team's not going to be able to ever have the ball to try to pass it. I mean, like it's not gonna, you're not going to do anything with it.
Right.
Who do you like? Okay, so let's. I guess we could talk about NBA a little bit. Who do you like? I mean, I'm doing projections right now. I imagine that. First of all, if we're Indiana, I imagine that somebody like Andre Jackson is gonna project really well by the end of this.
Right.
But I've heard like from a lot of places, I heard from a lot of places like almost instantly that Indiana is just gonna go small. What is your opinion on that? Like they're gonna go like Obi Toppin with
well, let's see who they start would be my first thought.
Okay.
If Isaiah Jackson starts, start him, play him.
Yeah,
I think the toughest fade on the board. I have no idea what the hell's going on with SaberSim's projections of Okongwu. They've got Okongwu projected at 40 fantasy points. What is the reason for this? Capella's playing. I don't understand it. I cannot get a firm grasp on what I'm missing here.
Because DeAndre Hunter's out? Is that the story?
I mean, is that and then everybody's like, even people saying Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson is the same play basically with DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter's a low usage starter. So you just have another low usage starter instead of him in Garrison Matthews. I think it boosts Ricochet a little bit, but I don't think it boosts. I don't get it.
Yeah, I imagine that's gotta normalize.
But like nothing happened to make it go that crazy. I mean, it's been a while since the Hunter news, or long enough. I don't know.
750. Let me just see.
And Reddick saying that the Lakers may tweak their rotation tonight. Which does that mean we finally get the lineup that I want them to play, which is get Connect in there as a starter instead of Rui. I bring Rui off the bench is my take.
I don't think we're ready yet.
Who else are you going to start? They're going to start Christie? I don't know what else they're going to start.
I'll be Rui again.
I mean, then why is he talking about tweaking it? They're not going to. Are they going to sit D'Angelo Russell and start Gabe Vincent? That's actually an interesting idea.
Sit LeBron.
To get out of here. LeBron is my biggest differentiator tonight. No matter what happens, I think
you could start Bronny.
Get the hell out of here. Oh my God.
Well, that's tweaking.
They might.
Right?
But it won't mean anything. Don't let the projections fool you guys. They might because it's back in Cleveland.
Oh.
That's what it is. You nailed it.
There it is. Can they actually do that? Can they get away with that?
I think they can get away with maybe playing it. I mean, I don't know. They're off to a good start. Reddick's like everybody's darling all of a sudden after getting.
No, he was their darling all in the offseason too, right?
No, we all thought it was a joke.
Oh, really?
I mean, for a team that's trying to win a title right away.
I don't know. From what I don't really watch it. But from what I heard, he's pretty sharp.
I've always loved him as a future coach to come to a team that is trying to do the win a title now, which I don't think they're really going to do, but that's what they're coming into. It's just strange them being the podcast just because he's a podcast buddy of LeBron's. But I like it. He's got the right attitude for a coach. He's got a little too much arrogance. He really understands the game extremely well.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be a real coach in the future. But yeah, okay. So you say so that's what Kobe's saying is they could start Hayes, but so you're starting Hayes then instead of Rui, because Rui's big enough. I mean, Rui's like the same size as Mobley. Like they're not any bigger. So I mean, maybe they fall for the bait there, but I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. Rui is literally like the same size. But we'll see. I do think that's an interesting thing to speculate on, and I honestly wouldn't make me that mad for the moment. I don't love I'm not. Everybody knows I'm not a LeBron guy, but I understand the significance to him and that it is at the moment his team basically, and they're playing in Cleveland. If you want to play him for 2 minutes. I'm not that first 2 minutes of the game is not going to determine who wins the game. So it doesn't matter.
I have to tell you, if the projections project him as a starter, if they announce him starting, that's like bad content.
If they announce him as a starter and people play him, people should lose the ability to play DFS entirely.
No, but that's fine. People could play bad. But what I'm saying is that if they like project him starting and then like all of a sudden SaberSim and all these places project him for like 26 minutes or something like that.
That would be so insane.
That would be like very bad content. I'm just
absolutely saying. Totally agree. The worst, to be honest. That's really, really bad. Let's see. You know what I'm gonna do, Sheets? Let's see your thing.
And I'm updating the projections right now.
Yeah.
As we speak. But I don't even know if again, I mean, this is gonna be probably the first of a couple of updates, I think.
Yeah. So I'm looking at my
there's Isaiah Jackson. Isaiah Jackson is
oh my God, they finally brought that total that Okongwu down. Jesus Christ. That was freaking me out for a minute.
Yeah, it looks as though well, I don't know if they've announced him starting yet, but I already see a couple of Isaiah Jackson projections.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Jackson is going to be. I mean, somebody was mentioning what about he or Clowney? I'm like, that's not even a conversation you should even consider yourself. Like Isaiah Jackson might go out there and get 40 and probably is getting no less than 20, and if he starts, and Clowney has maybe a ceiling of like 25. I mean, maybe he could get higher. I mean, I can't say it's a real ceiling, but okay, well, let's say we've never seen it before. You could play both of those guys though pretty easily, and you could also the Isaiah Jackson. I thought it would lower Nick Richards' ownership, but it doesn't look like it's doing that right now. And right now, I've got 80% Isaiah Jackson, and I'm going to lower this number on Okongwu because this is ridiculous. But LeBron is my second highest owned player on the slate, and I do not.
You're really down with that, huh?
Look, if I need to have, because especially the mass entry thing, I don't know. My thinking is if I can get different in a couple spots, and I don't see why it's bad. It's not like this is LeBron at 9K.
What is his price?
9,000.
Can he really? I mean, does he really have it in him to put up like a good score at 9K?
70 the game before last.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And it's a good pace game because remember, Cleveland plays fast now. LeBron going back there. Maybe you get an extra minute or two with Bronny's first time with LeBron in Cleveland. I'm buying in. I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
No. You don't have to apologize to me. I mean,
sorry if it cost anybody else money, but that's what I'm doing.
So these were kind of like guys I liked earlier in the day. That's like up on my screen right now. I'm curious to see how much of these guys I actually get at the end of this with all this new value. Probably nothing. I mean,
I actually like a lot of those guys, though.
No, but they're fine. But I mean, these presumed, that all that value didn't happen. That's the problem.
Yeah. Right now, Trae Young and LeBron are just fly. I mean, Trae Young. What sucks now is LeBron is actually going to have more ownership than he was going to have because of this value, and it's pretty easy to play both he and Trae. Trae is going to be really popular. RJ Barrett, pretty much the chalk stuff, but LeBron's my big differentiator of the guys who I've got a bunch of. I forced this in, and this is, look, again, you take big stands if you're trying to win a $5 tournament with 1 million people in it. Jimmy Butler is projected to be 0.5% owned, and I have him at 16%. So
but the funny thing is that's really all you need.
Right. But it actually, I mean, thinking about it more, I actually think there's a pretty decent case. Jimmy Butler he's had one bad game this year so far. His other games are 54 and 46, his last 2 games. And because he realized they need him, I actually think I'm going to up it, Sheets. I think I'm going to take more of it. I just don't, it's not a bad play. Like, he's projected at 35 fantasy points. Somebody give me an idea of where this projection is coming from. Why is it 35 fantasy points for Jimmy Butler? Why is that his median? We really think Jimmy Butler's median average is going to be 35 fantasy points this year?
It might. No.
Okay. I mean, it could because he might have.
You know what? His median is 35. I mean, certainly when I play.
No, but okay, and he's older now. He's 35 and all this stuff like that. But this is a show me year for him, and he got so ripped after his first game, and people saying he's toast. And then what did he do? He put up 54 in the next game and 46 in the next game.
What's his price? 7,000?
7,500.
75.
Yeah, I like this take. I'm gonna roll with it a little bit more. Even
I still think I like Tyreek Hill at 7,200.
Tyreek Hill versus him. Who else? Yeah. Who scores more fantasy points? Jimmy Butler tonight or Tyreek Hill on Sunday?
Right.
There it is.
Well, I'll tell you this: if it's Tyreek Hill, then you're going to want him.
Yeah, if it's Tyreek Hill, no matter what Jimmy Butler scores, you're going to want him probably.
Right.
Look, and it's just a take, man. It's something that I think makes enough sense to make why not hammer the low owned stuff like that? I just think it makes plenty of sense to me. I'm doing it. Isaiah Jackson, I had to literally. I think you'd get 100% of them.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see right now. Hold on.
I lowered it just in case, but it means I also have to get some Obi Toppin.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's see. First, let me put the projection. Now, before I run these, I want to see what they are, and I'm not showing them today, but I just want to take a look at them. And I presume Isaiah Jackson is going to look like the best point per dollar play
by a million miles. Yeah.
All right, let's just see. Well, let me just see. Yes. Wow. And guess who is second?
It's Clowney.
It is not.
Oh, Richards you have or Podol?
It is not.
Barrett?
It is not.
Who is it?
For me, it is Garrison Matthews.
Oh, okay. That seems a little ambitious.
It does. Can I tell you?
They don't have that many bodies. So I guess, you know what? Maybe it's not ambitious. I actually kind of like Garrison Matthews as a player. So.
Let me just dive into this for just a minute. Let's just see what this is all about here. Let me point per dollar. I want to see if I just have some outlier. Not really. I mean, I have a couple of, I don't know. I got 19 and a half. I have him at. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. Maybe it's a little high, but.
No, it seems reasonable enough. I mean, that Saberson's got him a little lower, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, I have him at like 8% ownership.
Yeah, I actually think he's going to be more popular than that.
All right, let's. All right, well, you know what? Let's see what we get here.
Saberson keeps bumping him up.
Let me see FanDuel first.
Yeah, he's bumping up for sure.
He is okay.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, just points per dollar. I presume it's going to be Jose Alvarado. Yeah. Jose Alvarado, I have clearly the best value. Then Isaiah Jackson. Isaiah Jackson on there, they let him have point power forward eligibility, which is
Oh God,
yeah, something like that.
Jesus.
All right. So first thing I have to do is I have to put my I have to redo my contest here on DraftKings because I see that there was like I'll show you something. You see here, like you see I have 50 entries in this thing. It means it didn't I grabbed them right. Let's do this again. So let's download from DraftKings and then upload entries file. And then we'll put them in. Let's see if it changes them. Or maybe I just didn't fill them right. But we're going to make sure to double check that. It's still only 216. All right, let's go to a new build 3. And I wonder how much Garrison Matthews I'm going to obtain due to my projections. We will see. And for some reason, they don't want me to spell Cam Thompson like Cameron. Doesn't matter. And away we go. LeBron is probable. That's very, very helpful.
The fact that they even made him like questionable is just so stupid.
Might be part of his contract. I don't know.
I think it is. I feel like I don't know. Like he's going to Cleveland and he's not going to play. Get out of here. And by the way, it's the only matchup with Cleveland all season. I'll throw that out there too. I'm talking myself even more and more heavily into this LeBron thing. I think I might go like 50%.
Well, if you do that, maybe you play some Donovan Mitchell.
I think it's not a bad idea. And I actually was just about to take a look and see if I wanted to do that. I think I do. Yes, I do. I think Mitchell and Mobley. Yeah, I'd like to get overweight that game in general. Jared Allen, because centers, even though he's a great defender, for some reason the centers always crush the Lakers.
Yeah, I am in fact getting 100 of the Isaiah.
Let's just do 85 here. Oh wait, they lowered it a little bit. Here we go. There's got to be a minimum of 70, and he is starting. They announced it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But how about this? How about 25% Jimmy Butler and 58% LeBron? What's funny is Sabersim likes LeBron anyway, so I don't need to go as far out of it. At least it did for me.
Now you might. See, this is not for me. Like if I'm getting all these lineups with like four Hawks, for example, because of Matthews, I'm getting Matthews and the how do you pronounce it? Risage? Together. That I'm just not going to bother worrying about it right now. Okay, so we do the Sims, and then we go into the min uniques business. So let's first go into autofill, and first thing we're going to do the min uniques. Wait, where did the min uniques go? Oh, from direct fill. Sorry. So we're looking at min destination ROI 59, and let's see what we get here. Now it drops to 50. Let's see, 8, which is nothing. Now it's not going to drop that much because I have 216 lineups. I'm kind of averaging out here. Then it went to 45, and then after this it goes to down to 10. All right, so let's just only go min uniques 3. We'll go into autofill and then we'll just go from there. Now again, I'm playing like a bunch today, so I have to really rate these the way I want them. I mean, obviously the one thing you could use this little thing. You can do a fee, and you can rate them by fee. And now all this comes to the top. That's not a bad idea. It's not a good. That's a pretty good place to start. Mm-hmm. And let's go save the contests. You know, the only thing I don't like about this slate is it's not much of a late swap slate. There are only like two or three games like that you can swap into, and they're all kind of fishy.
Right. It is on FanDuel a pretty good late swap slate.
Well, yeah, we get the Clowney is in that late game, but by the time you're swapping for that, like you know whether you needed Isaiah Jackson or not. You know what I mean? Okay, so we saved them all. Now I want to make sure that it actually gets. Like, well, remember we were looking at 50 of the same lineups on my DraftKings thing. I want to make sure that fixes. And wow, okay, so I'm only getting 86% Isaiah Jackson at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm down to 84.7.
Okay. It is what it is. You know, he's starting and he's 3,800 or whatever. It's like, what are you going to do? I mean,
yeah.
And yeah, they could go small or whatever it is. And you know what? If you go small, then he only gets like 6x, I guess.
Yeah. Just because it's his number, it's my favorite number, it's my lucky number. I decided to go with I have exactly 22% of Jimmy Butler, and that feels like a good number to me.
Okay, so this all and whatever. And you can like view exposure this way as well through DraftKings. So if you want to look this way, Isaiah Jackson, Barrett, Ball, but again, what your exposure is not as important to how they're kind of meshing together. And I'm getting 30% of the Garrison Matthews at the end of the day. This one I really am nervous about. 20 again, you can't worry about this. 25% Valanciunas is rough business. Boy, oh boy. Well, you know, as I like to say, the good thing about having 25% Valanciunas is that 75% of my lineups are live. So that's good news. All right, so now let's go to FanDuel.
Yep.
And I presume it's going to just be all the Alvarado. That's the.
I don't think so.
Well, so?
Maybe. It's like Jordan Hawkins. I don't know what they do with him because he's questionable too, but he's a game time decision. Jordan Hawkins can sort of play combo guard. The ball goes. Zion plays point basically. It's point Zion a lot of the time, as much as they can do it. I think it's really just the you want to be overweight the Zion, the Ingram. I don't know if you need to do the Alvarado, but maybe you do.
Yeah, I'm projecting 100. We'll see what happens.
Oh, okay, we'll see what happens.
That's what I'm getting.
I actually haven't redone my FanDuel ones yet because I'm so excited about my DraftKings builds. I love when I have a couple takes that are just so off the beaten path. I don't know why. Like I actually now I'm like convinced that Okongwu is like gonna smash tonight because of the misprojection.
If you want to just like play a guy, I'm not more than his. You can play 30% Paolo Banchero.
That's always a good idea,
right?
All of those guys I actually like pretty much everybody. I mean, I like Wagner. We'll see also if Isaac is back. That's a big question.
I mean, he hasn't been back. They would have to. That would be a surprise.
The weird part is they're still projecting him as in. Usually if it's a surprise, they would have him out.
Yeah, they would have had him out by now.
Yeah. Maxey has a pivot off of Trae Young. Yes, I do MC, but I prefer Trae, but I definitely like Maxey as a pivot. Right now I've only got 12% of them, but that's a pretty decent percentage. I guess that's not nothing.
This is 1094. And then okay, so let's go back to Min Uniques 3, I guess. So I am getting let's see how much Alvarado. 82% Alvarado. And then wow, and then the next highest guy I'm getting is Jordan Poole. But that's like tied with like LaMelo, James Harden.
Right.
40% Jackson. I'm getting a bunch of the Okongwu on FanDuel. Oh, you play power forward over there as well. But,
yeah, I get the play on FanDuel. I did not understand what was happening there when they got him at 40 DraftKings points tonight. I was just like totally confused.
Yeah, that's a little confusing, right?
Yeah, and I actually ended up right now at least with a lot more of the Matthews than I thought I was going to. And maybe that's a mistake, but let's see.
We'll find it. We'll find out in about an hour and a half.
If I'm going to make huge stands on a few guys, I don't really need to go that crazy and try to decipher a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it just there's no real reason to. Let's see, Wendell Carter. Ooh, I like that. I like that I'm getting the Wendell Carter. I like the revenge thing, man. I'm telling you, in the NBA throughout the course of a season, it's a whole different thing. Just speaking about that really quickly about baseball, because everybody, says this, tries to take away the Dodgers title from 2020 because there's only 60 games. That's the only time in baseball history where everybody was like all in for the whole season. At least all the competitive teams were. You know what I mean? Because you only had 60 games, and every game meant that much more. So I actually would argue that might be the hardest title to win, not the easiest. Just my take.
Well, there's more variance. I mean.
Well, no, I think it's less. I think that everybody brings their bet. Like, there's a few professional baseball playing friends of friends, et cetera. And they all say the same thing. They all say there's certain series you really get up for, and everything else you're sort of going through the motions a lot of the time because it's just such a long grind.
On the other hand, I mean, not to play devil's advocate, but one of the things you say quite frequently is that the World Series itself and the playoffs are fraudulent because it only it reduces the amount of games.
Yeah. They are.
So likewise, I mean, if you're gonna, you should probably downgrade a season that only has 60 games also.
Fair enough, but at the same time, you're getting the best effort from everybody who's playing it. So I guess I hear what you're saying, but I guess that's just the playoffs too.
The fact is, I mean, the fact that they were finally able to play it all was like, I mean, when you show your kids highlights of those series of those games with the cardboard people in the stadium, like what I mean, like it was like it was and the NBA pulled off all that stuff in the bubble. Remember all those guys that freaking just went freaking ballistic. Remember like the Donovan Mitchell and the Devin Booker and who's
Jamal Murray
too, yeah.
Anthony Davis and the Lakers, by the way. That one I'll buy a little bit more of. Okay, that could be I don't know if this team would have won a real season. You know what I mean? Real regular playoffs. Just even staying healthy and everything. And
are they doing the tournament again this year?
Which tournament?
The NBA tournament?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think it's here to stay.
That was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
And you need to have something mattering. But the great thing about the NBA that's different than baseball that I love so much is that there are these little rivalries within rivalries from ex teams to guys you played against and the guy who got your job and all. Like I always use the Jordan Clarkson and D'Angelo Russell thing as an example. Yeah. But like those are things you could really buy into. You know what I mean? DeMarcus Cousins back in Sacramento. Everybody knows if you didn't play DeMarcus Cousins back in Sacramento, you're the dumbest person in DFS, right? Like I think he averaged 80 against them after that.
And not only that though, but what's different? It's always what's different about baseball and a lot of other sports, but and basketball specifically is just never really any facing off. Right. If a pitcher has it in for a hitter, so they'll go after it one time, whatever it is, or a couple, whatever. It's not like if Mookie Betts had it in for like one of the shortstops of the other team or whatever.
Right,
you didn't get to guard him on the court. You didn't get to come in to help defense and block the guy's shot and flex on him like you can in basketball, whatever. And you don't stare at each other a lot. It's just baseball's. As I always said that about baseball, it's one of the it's like the only sport, I guess it's because of the dugouts or whatever, where the players just don't see each other after the game at all. It's after every game, like every other sport, team sport, even the hockey people, they go off into the tunnels together. The basketball guys go into the tunnels. Even the football players shake hands after the games. Baseball, they just go into the dugout.
Yeah.
And even like in the championships, like you have hockey, they have the big handshake. Football, you have the big hand. Basketball, even baseball, like the losing team just disappears into their dugout. There's no handshakes, there's no congratulations or whatever, and it's kind of a, I guess it's because of the way the whole dugout system is created. There's no reason for them to go across the field to congratulate the guys, especially when 90% of the time the team is just freaking piling on each other,
right
in the middle of the thing, or stomping on the plate and throwing all kinds of crap at each other. You know what I mean? You don't want to go and shake the guy's hand in the middle of that shit either. It's
for what it's worth, Jonathan Isaac is in.
Okay.
So I'm actually playing a little bit of him as a pivot off of Clowney and some with Clowney, I think probably.
All right, I haven't heard from Mrs. Sheets in a while. I have to go check on her.
All right.
I'm gonna run. I will. We'll hopefully see you guys at the top of the leaderboards.
Yep.